Two lions were mauled today by a cheetah in today's news.
What?
I was just playing newswoman.
You were playing newswoman. Two lions were mauled by a cheetah. Wouldn't it be a gazelle was
Mauled by.
a lion?
Oh, I thought you meant like a gazelle mauled the lions.
I mean, maybe they all were just hanging out at the mall. That's where you go to maul someone, at the mall.
That should be good.
English is a wonderful language.
Top 10 video. Top 10 video.
Greetings, Islanders, and welcome to Top 10 Video. We're just a small mom and pop video shop
You're bound to find something
here to watch on a Friday night, or not, and recapping my years of working at Top 10 Video with my lovely...
We didn't work together at Top 10 Video.
No, but we're recapping together.
Okay.
My lovely wife, Hollipop. Not every movie was a winner, sadly. Just because it ranked in the top 10 rentals in a given week didn't mean it was a surefire piece of entertainment. Case in point, we have now arrived at the week of February 15th, 1997. Valentine's Day had just passed us. Do you remember your Valentine's Day back in 1997?
No.
Me neither. Regardless, these were the top 10 video rentals in February 15th of 1997. Number 10, we're going to count down this time from 10 to 1 really quick. Number 10 was Escape from LA.
That's Kurt Russell?
Yes, good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was John Carpenter's cheesy sequel to his 1981 Escape from New York. Do you remember Snake Plissken?
Who?
Snake Plissken.
I never heard.
That was the character that Kurt Russell played in Escape from New York and then Escape from LA. He had an eye patch.
I remember that. I just didn't know his character's name. I don't think I watched the movie.
Well, I will. Yeah, Escape from LA is not a very good movie. It's Escape from New York was kind of a serious action film. Escape from LA is kind of a farce. Like he actually surfs on a giant wave, like a giant wave. Really bad CGI. Anyway, it's not a very good movie. Number 9 was Fargo. Fargo was on the list.
I believe so, because I remember talking about
last month as well. But what happened is that it won Best Picture. So it came out at the end of 96. And it went away for a little bit, and then it was nominated for Best Picture. It wins, and now everybody wants to see Fargo again. So it gets back on the charts here at number 9. 17 weeks, actually, it was on the charts at this point. Number 8, Tin Cup. Also on the list last month. It dropped a couple of spots, but still going strong. Kevin Costner playing golf with Rene Russo. Number 7. The Island of Dr. Moreau. It's its first week in the top 10, and our focus for this week, we'll come back to it. Number 6, Chain Reaction. It's still here. Number 5, Fled. Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Baldwin are still fleeing. Number 4, can you believe it? The Rock. The Rock dropping all the way from number 1 last month, and now it's number 4.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 3, Your favorite on the list? You want to say it?
Kingpin.
Kingpin?
Kingpin.
It's Kingpin. Holding strong at number 3 is the Farrelly Brothers bowling comedy. That's right, it's a bowling comedy. Number 2, Phenomenon. John Travolta still being phenomenal. This one's been on the charts for a little bit as well. And number 1, February 15th of 1997, was A Time to Kill. The Grisham adaptation has reached the top of the chart.
But we're not going to be talking about the top today.
No, we're definitely not. We're jumping back down to number 7, and that is the movie that we watched. Well, when I wrote these notes, it was last weekend, but we were not able to record for a few weeks because I was under the weather.
He injured himself coughing.
We don't need to go into the details. The Island of Dr. Moreau, based on the short story by H.G. Wells, this one was adapted for the screen several times previously. Burt yes, I can't talk.
Burt Lancaster. Say it with me. Lancaster.
Burt Lancaster played Dr. Moreau in the 1977 version.
Which is what year I was born.
Yeah,
I
congratulations.
was born in 1977.
That was a good year.
Maybe I am a creation of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, well, that changes things.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit, actually. We don't normally dwell too much on the behind the scenes info with movies here. It's really about me just reliving the movies that came out while I was working at the video store.
Mm-hmm.
However, we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about the batshit crazy stuff that happened on this movie. So, this movie was developed by indie director Richard Stanley, who I always confuse with the other Stanley, John Patrick Stanley.
Stanley, I mean.
John Patrick made Joe versus the Volcano and a couple of other weird movies. And for many years, I assumed they were the same person, but they're not. I always thought the Joe versus the Volcano guy made the island of, or developed the island of Dr. Moreau, and he did not.
This guy was nuts, the guy that created.
2 different Stanleys. He seemed a little off in the documentary we watched about the making of the movie. Yes, Richard Stanley developed this movie for many years. He was a big fan of the H.G. Wells novel, and he had all these grand ideas, storyboards, and whatnot. Bruce Willis was originally cast as the lead, along with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando. That's quite the cast for 1996, actually, if they had gotten those 3 guys in one movie. But they did not. Bruce Willis had to drop out. A lot of stuff happened. Director Stanley even went to a warlock to improve his chances of success. But several weeks into shooting, he's fired. He's fired from the movie for various reasons. The warlock passes away. I don't know. A bunch of shit happened. They bring in veteran director John Frankenheimer, not to be confused with Dr. Frankenstein.
So let's go back to the warlock part.
Uh-huh.
So where do you even find a warlock?
Well, you look him up in the phone book.
Okay. All right.
Back in 1997, you look him up in the phone book.
Did they have like warlocks? Was that a category?
Yeah, I'm sure you open up the yellow pages. You remember that? You remember the yellow pages?
Like around here where we live.
Fingers do the walking.
Like we live in Louisiana near New Orleans. Like we can go find a voodoo queen probably pretty easily.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I mean, where do you have to be to find a warlock?
I feel like you know where they hang out.
Okay.
Anyway, they hired John Frankenheimer to take Richard Stanley's place. The shoot drags on for 6 months with insane stories of what happened during the production. At one point, the rumor is that director Stanley sneaks back onto the film set and gets the makeup artist to slap a dog mask on him so he can be one of the extras in the group shots, and he can basically observe the production. This is wackadoodle shit.
I mean, yeah, he got kicked off of of the movie because I guess they didn't like the job he was doing, right?
Well, I mean, it was a big production. He had only made a couple of indie films, and yeah, the producers didn't have a lot of confidence in him.
Like who sneaks back to work? Like if after they
I
get
don't know.
fired, like if I got fired, I wouldn't like dress up and sneak back into work. I would be like, all right, cool, I'm free.
Exactly.
I mean, it would suck not getting paid, but I wouldn't go back to work for free and dress up in costume.
No,
Would
because
you?
no, he'd be sweating and
Would you fake being a patient to go back to the hospital? I don't know.
no, 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 no. In Val Kilmer's memoir, he writes a little bit about this movie, and he actually said that he claims to have heard one of the creatures yelling insults at him, but he could never pinpoint which one it was.
Maybe I would want to go back and dress up.
And so, yes, right? Because
Yeah.
you're
You
like,
can just insult various people, no consequences.
right, and you're dressed as a dog, and they just assume that you're in character, right? You're just playing one of the creatures. Suffice it to say, it was a nightmare experience for many involved, though a few of the Australian cast and crew claim to have had quite the rowdy time. Lots of sex, apparently, amongst the cast and crew. The Australians,
Well, they sat around and waited so long
yes, and they were all in
because
animal
because
costumes.
Val Kilmer was very immature, Marlon Brando was immature, so they would basically just not go to set until they got their way. So all they would do is sit around and wait. They got bored and they just had a lot of sex. So,
Apparently, yeah, that's what
yeah.
happened. So anyway, this is the movie we watched. I remember reading about this movie. It was a bit of a news story, all the issues on the movie, because I mean, it had Val Kilmer. He was coming off of Batman Forever. He was pretty much as
Top of his game.
yeah, he was the biggest version of his star that he was ever going to be at this point. And so, yeah, it was kind of a big deal that it was coming out. And John Frankenheimer, he was a known director. Marlon Brando was making a movie. He had just made that weird movie with Johnny Depp. What was that movie? Don Juan DeMarco.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I think this is a movie. I think this was one of the last films Brando was in, if I'm not mistaken, which is a shame, actually.
And bad things, not only bad things happened on set, but bad things happened to the people working on that movie too, right? Like bad things happened to Marlon Brando.
Well, before the movie, actually, he had already taken the job, and then his daughter actually committed suicide.
Yeah.
And so he was, I think that's part of the reason why he was a little off his game. And then Val Kilmer was actually going through a divorce at the time. So I think that's why he was a little,
So there was just like a lot of negative energy
yeah,
around the film.
yeah. I think it was kind of cursed from the start. I feel like once Richard Stanley was let go, I mean, it was not good even before, but once he got let go, I feel like all hell broke loose and he just kind of went a little
Well,
crazy.
how much good is going to come from a movie that's basically the origin story for the Wuzzles, the cartoon from the 1980s? It's
Yes.
basically explains how the Wuzzles were created.
I don't recall the Wuzzles.
Well,
What were the Wuzzles?
the Wuzzles were creatures that were basically melded together. Like you had the lion and the elephant. I don't like what is it? Oh, an elephant and like a butterfly or something
Oh,
were
so
welded
so it
together.
was like two animals blended together to make a
Yeah.
new creature.
Yeah, they
I see
just
what you're
blended
saying.
all kinds of creatures together, and those were the Wuzzles. And I feel like this was like the origin story. This is where it all
Okay.
began.
Was what were the Wuzzles? Was it a dark animated?
No, it was bright, but like in order for civilization to start, there has to be a lot of conflict and war. So the Wuzzles civilization couldn't get to the point that it was at in the cartoon series in the 80s without all the conflict of the island.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my theory.
All right. Well, I was going to ask, what do you think of this movie? But clearly, you have just explained what you think of this movie. It's the
I like it a lot better when I think of it
wait.
as the origin story of the
Okay.
Wuzzles. Yeah.
Interesting.
I did stay awake during the
You
movie.
did,
I
and
did,
and
yeah.
that's one thing I'll say. Another interesting sort of on-set factoid. You mentioned Brando and Kilmer being a little loopy. They apparently were rewriting their lines as they went because they just kind of were like, you know what, we don't like this line, we're going to rewrite it, we're going to do something different, and so they rewrote whole scenes Brando was so enamored by the world's smallest man, Nelson de la Rosa. And this, when I say the world's smallest man, this dude is about yay tall. He's in the movie. Check it. I mean, it's worth watching just for him alone. Marlon Brando wanted this guy in every scene. And he wanted him to dress in the same costume that he was wearing.
Yeah.
And Mike Myers, many years later, well, not many years later, but a few years later, would copy this for his character of Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. I'm just saying. I mean, there's literally a scene in this movie where Marlon Brando's playing the piano, a full-size grand piano, and on top of it is a miniature grand piano, and Nelson de la Rosa is playing it, and they're dressed exactly alike. It's like the Wuzzles theory actually has some merit here. This movie gets super wackadoodle. Brando in particular, very wacky. He doesn't have many scenes. He only has what, like 3-4 scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he refused to get out of his trailer.
He just continually talks about being obsessed with the heat. Oh, it's dreadfully hot. It's dreadfully hot here. That's and he's like wiping his face. He's got all this white makeup
Yeah.
on.
And that was his choice, wasn't it?
Yes, it was all his choice.
Yeah, and then like he's got the lipstick.
He's got like just a little bit of lipstick. He's got what looks like stockings wrapped around his face.
Yeah.
You were
I was gonna dress up like him, but I'm like, that's just too much work.
too much work.
That's just too much work.
So instead, we both dressed in white.
He also was dressed in white, and I'm pretty sure that it probably wasn't even, the end of May yet.
Oh, you're talking about Labor Day?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought you weren't supposed to wear white after Labor Day. Before Labor Day, you can wear it all you want.
No, it doesn't matter in Louisiana because it's always hot as crap here. Okay. But it's also probably always hot as crap in the island of Dr. Moreau. I'm pretty sure that might have taken place somewhere near Louisiana, even though like it was supposed to be like some island in the Pacific, right?
Yes.
But the climate was similar.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an island, and they actually shot in Australia
because it's hot here
in the outback. They shot it in the outback. David Thewlis plays the part that Bruce Willis was supposed to play in this movie. He's a very good British actor, and he hated his experience on this movie. He plays really the only sane character in the whole movie. And I thought he did a pretty good job considering all the issues that they had on the movie. Val Kilmer, who I normally love, goes from a fairly straightforward character at the beginning. He's sort of like the island doctor, I guess, not Dr. Moreau, but the other guy who, like the vet who works on the animal human hybrids that Moreau has been creating.
The Wuzzles, yeah.
The Wuzzles, yes. And by the end of the movie, he is just completely bonkers. I mean, he's dressed as Marlon Brando's character. He's dressed as Dr. Moreau. He's doing his voice. Pretty good impersonation, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, he does. He does very good. In fact, they probably didn't even need Brando. They could have just had him do both parts.
Yeah.
Because Brando was in so much makeup and costume, they probably would have.
No one would have ever known the difference, other than the fact that Marlon Brando was twice the size of Val Kilmer.
Yeah, you can just pat him.
Yeah,
pat it up.
And we have one notable female character in this film, played by Fairuza Balk. Is that how you say her name, Fairuza?
I think so.
Fairuza. Whatever happened to Fairuza Balk? Fairuza does what she can with the material, but sadly, I think her best scene, honestly, is the opening scene where David Thewlis meets her. And she's doing that dance, and he's watching her, and she doesn't know he's watching her. It's just kind of a nice little moment between the two characters because she gets shy when she realizes he's watching her, but everything goes to shit after that.
Yeah,
really. Ron Perlman is also in this movie. At this time, he was famous for playing the Beast in TV's Beauty and the Beast show.
Mm-hmm. He also played Hellboy later.
He played Hellboy later. So he's been in a lot of projects where his face is completely covered in makeup and he's unrecognizable.
You can still tell who he is because of his bone structure.
He's got very distinct bone structure. Mm. But he plays Sayer of the Law, and he's out of the creature characters, he's probably a standout. Speaking of the makeup, Stan Winston's studio was tasked with turning the human cast into human animal hybrids. And I feel like some of the work is really impressive, like the cat, or is it the bobcat or the tiger? I forget what it
There
is.
were so many different animals.
Yeah.
They all kind of just blended together,
But
kind of like the Wuzzles.
yeah, but some of them looked really good in the makeup, and then there were others that looked kind of wonky. And I think it's because the production went on for so long, and they were just like reusing the same stuff, and they changed cast members sometimes, and that makeup is like made to fit a specific head. And then if a different person goes and you try to put it on, it might look a little weird. So I don't know. It's a lot of the stuff looks cheesy in this movie. It does not hold up very well. There's also a few CGI scenes in here. Remember the little creatures on the boat?
Hmm.
Didn't look good at all.
Did you read the book?
I've never read the book. No.
So I'm just wondering, like, because I know there were some scenes in the movie where Val Kilmer's character was having sex with the Wuzzles. Um, so my
Yeah, there was like a giant orgy happening at one point.
yes, so like I'm wondering, was Dr. Moreau the same way? Like, did he have sex with the animal creatures too, or was he just it was all purely scientific and done in the lab?
I don't know. I really don't want to.
I'm just
Sure.
wondering, like, where this idea started. I wonder what would happen if I fucked that tiger.
Well, I don't think he was. No, I think he was trying to create. These were like lab, like test tube babies. Like he was taking the DNA of the humans himself and perhaps some of the other people on humans on the island and creating new hybrid beings. Sort of like an electric car that also runs on gasoline. Same
Yeah.
difference.
Well, I'm not sure you can make that comparison.
Sure.
So he was like he was innocent about it. He just like, okay, well, well, not necessarily innocent, but he didn't have, impure thoughts about the animals.
Well, I can't say that. I mean, his daughter, he had a daughter. That's why I'm curious where his daughter came from because she was part
Yeah.
cat.
Why did he consider her his daughter, but he didn't consider,
Well, all of the animal creatures considered him their father. They did
that's
call him that.
true. That's true. Okay, I get it. But Val Kilmer kind of started twisting it.
Yeah, because remember they had
You're right.
no, you know what happened is that they had the chips in them.
That's right. And then the one creature took his chip out.
He took his chip out, and then they were taking the chips out of all the animals because they would electrocute them when they would screw up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and actually it's kind of a good metaphor for not following like propaganda and everything, and just being thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess it wasn't a good metaphor because they all went crazy and
Well,
started killing
they
each other.
rebelled against their overlords, their father,
Yeah.
and they, I mean, the end is, I'm going to say this: despite all the chaos behind the scenes, John Frankenheimer still made a semi-coherent movie. Like it does make sense. It's wacky and it's crazy, and there's bad effects in it, but I think it's kind of fun. You stayed awake for it.
I liked the movie. And then I also stayed awake for the documentary.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Um
here's the thing. It's an A movie cast with a B movie spirit. Because they used to make fun movies like this all the
mhm.
time back in the 60s, like just wacky science fiction movies. It's like a Twilight Zone episode, but extended to.
But what's so weird is the director, after the movie, he just ran off into the mountains to live in the mountains.
Yeah.
He like left
Well,
humanity.
I mean, he was fired. He didn't actually direct the movie. None of his footage
But
survives.
not only did he just leave Hollywood, he like completely left civilization.
That's true.
This guy was wacky.
Gone pecan. Yeah.
They need to make a movie just about this guy.
Overall, I think I enjoyed the movie, despite how just at times it's just really cheesy, and there's some bad acting. There's some, but Brando is kind of great in this. There's a scene where Fairuza Balk, his daughter, is pouring ice into his hat to cool off his head. That was Brando's idea as well. And at the end, there's like these animal human hybrids with machine guns shooting things, and it's exploding. It's like an 80s action film, I don't know. It's crazy. Does it make sense? Not really. And then at the end, right, there's this heavy-handed metaphor. You hear David Thewlis narrating, and he talks about how, when I look at my fellow humans, sometimes I see the animal inside, and they're showing all these newsreel clips of like,
You could see where they were trying to go with it.
yeah, it's just a little bit too heavy-handed with the metaphor there. Talking about humanity's violent, animalistic tendencies. I'm going to say it's not a good movie, but I think it's an occasionally entertaining bad one. And now it's time for the rating. I'll let you go first.
Well, if you think about it as the Wuzzle origin story,
Okay.
and if you're a Wuzzle fan, like,
And who isn't, really?
this, like, okay, so I didn't fall asleep, so that's a 5, right?
Wow. Okay.
Automatically. Would I watch it again? No. So, you can't be higher than a 7. But this was like a train wreck, like
This was indeed.
that's you just couldn't look away from. You're like, where is this going? What?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would go a 6 because of the basically the train, and I think I give it a 6 too because the documentary makes me go back and look at the movie a little more fondly.
Right. Well, once you see how horrible things were behind the scenes, the fact that they actually even made a coherent movie is quite impressive.
Honestly, I think if you want a recommendation for something to watch, skip this movie and go straight to the documentary and watch the documentary about the movie.
And the documentary is called Lost Souls, something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Lost Souls. It's on Amazon Prime.
Is that what it's on Amazon Prime?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
Lost Souls: The Making of the Island of Dr. Moreau, something like that. And Richard Stanley features heavily in it, and it is quite entertaining.
It is, yeah.
Much more so than the film itself. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10 for the Island of Dr. Moreau. Anything else you'd like to add about this wonderful, wonderful diamond in the rough?
All right, if you could have your DNA mixed with any animal to create your own Wuzzle, what would it be?
I mean, I'd probably go for something that would give me either extreme speed or increase my strength.
Well, you're not mixed. You're just having this child.
Oh, it's not me?
No, you have to raise it and everything.
Oh.
It's a lot of responsibility.
I mean, I'd probably just go with a dog then.
Go with the dog?
Yeah, because that way, you're not worried about it turning against you or anything.
Well, dogs can turn against you. You just have to do something that's like not threatening.
Yeah, you insert an electrical diode in their neck, and you anytime they break the rules.
Okay.
That's it, folks. We'll see you next month for where are we at? March. We'll pick a week. We'll pick the top 10 movies, and we'll be talking about one in particular. Later.
Bye.
The Top 10 Video Podcast is produced by D. Robi and is a part of the Introverse Podcast Network.